Sorry. Sorry. Please. Thank you. Welcome.
I honestly believe that the church can play a much stronger role in promoting inclusion in society, not only in the church community but in the society as a whole. So there are many different types of disabilities, and some people may also have more than one. Disabilities obviously can result from accidents, illness, or genetic disorders. Then who is a person with disability? So when we talk about a person with disabilities, temporary disabilities also can happen to people. So, but when we talk about a disabled person or a person with disability, we are talking about a person with long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairments, which in interaction with various barriers may hinder their full and effective participation in society on an equal basis with others. So a person to be certified as a disabled person has to go and get themselves assessed in the hospital by the medical board, by the specialist and all, and whatever specialist you need, you have to go and get assessed. Then the medical board will give a certificate to you, stating what your percentage is. For me, I want to go to church on Sunday. If the church is not accessible, physically accessible, then I cannot go. So that is the most important thing to me. But when you build a ramp, then for a deaf person, what is it? It's no use again. I mean, it's important for some part of the disabled community, but for a deaf person, the need is different again. The accessible need is different again. So that's why accessibility goes beyond ramps and lifts and the physical, built environment. It is so much more. So when you understand the different needs that are there, then you will be able to, improve your inclusion and become more accessible to every single citizen. Obviously, when there is no entry into the church building at all from the beginning, then we will not be able to be part of the church at all. So the first thing that we have to think about is church access into the ramp access into the church. And if ramp is not possible, then we may even have to be, as I said, lifts are very expensive. But we have to even consider installing lifts, so that disabled people who will, with mobility issues, who cannot walk up and down steps, will be able to enter the church buildings. Now, many people, they think about, it's okay, you'll carry lift my chair and take me up this thing and bring me down again, That is one of the most humiliating and, undignified experiences that a grown person, I'm not a child. So just imagine, you just put yourself in my place. I know it has been done with good intentions, but this is something that non-disabled people need to be aware about, They're carrying a disabled person, or sometimes not even my wheelchair, they even offer to carry me on their backs. And as I said, I appreciate that the offer of help that they are giving, but carrying someone like that, pushing and pulling your chair and your assistive devices in that kind of manner is a very humiliating and the kind of indignity that no one would like to experience. So that is one thing that you should always be aware about. So when we build ramp access into the church, it must have a proper gradient. Many times ramps, we are putting a ramp, it go up like this, so steep that it becomes dangerous for users. So there is one guidelines that have been brought out by the Ministry of Urban Affairs, that is the harmonized guidelines, where all the kinds of different measurement specifications are given for ramps, for doorways, for toilets, for various, and even lifts, if you are going to install, what the size should be. All those things are given. So if you all are interested, we can give that guidelines to you all also. So in a place like Kohima, because we have so very little area and our terrain is also mountainous, hilly, so sometimes it is very difficult. But if we use our creative ideas, we can always make it so that, it is at least safe for people with wheelchairs and other assistive users to be able to use it, the ramp, the facility safely. So it should not be steep in that manner, as I said just now. It must, and then again, in one church also I had gone, they had made the ramp access, but the ramp was so small, so narrow that my wheelchair could barely be, it was nearly falling off the ramp. A slight accident and I would have fallen off. They did not even have railing also. So I have given here, ramps must always have railings for safety. It should never be built without railings. It should be wide enough. I'm not saying make something like this, room wide kind of thing, but at least wide enough so that people can, freely, the wheelchairs can be freely pushed up and down the ramps. So those are points which you all should remember when you are building a ramp. Then one thing that we can think about is reserve parking space or drop-off, because this is something that most people don't even think about. We can reach the church area, but get down from the car, from your vehicle, get into your chair, and then to go into all those issues are very difficult for us. So when there is no space for us to park anywhere, and then the space is so bad, very uneven and things like that, then how do I get down even from the vehicle? That is one issue that we face also. So these are things that I want all of you to be aware. So I am, from my own personal experience, I have this, so I'm just mentioning this to you all. So a reserved parking space, if it is possible, it is always good, so that place is made properly, so that anyone coming with, any vehicle coming with a disabled person using this kind of assistive devices, they can go to that parking space, get down properly, get into their chair or get into whatever that they use, and slowly move from there to to enter the church. Otherwise, if there is no parking space or no proper drop-off pickup point, then it becomes very, very difficult for us also. Just this last Sunday also, I had one similar experience in another church where the parking and the pickup thing was very difficult. And these days, as we all know, even the town areas have become so congested with vehicles on Sundays because of the Sunday services. So there was absolutely no space for me to get down and into my chair also. So practically falling off. So this is also one difficulty that we face. Then, steps and stairs. There will be steps and stairs, obviously, in churches, whether it's in the entrance or inside the church also. So always put grab rails, these railings on steps. Many times in churches we have this big white, stepways and things like that, and there are no railings. It's not only for disabled people, it is always safe for everybody to have this kind of, railings where people can hold on to when they need it. And this is good for senior citizens also. Even if they can walk on steps, up and down the steps, just imagine, if there are no railings at all, walking up a step, it's very difficult. And once, you reach a certain age, then mobility issues, it's a natural thing to crop up. So it is a good thing even for senior citizens. Then color contrast. Color contrast is good for people with low vision. So the color contrast, I'm sure you all know, at the edge of the steps, you give a different color, because when you have low vision, identify, where the step ends, when to go to the next step, or come down the next step, this becomes very difficult. So when you have that color contrast at the edge of the steps, then this is a safety measure also for persons with disabilities and for everybody else. So then we come to the space inside the church, Now the entry is there. Now we come into the church. One important thing that I always say, because I am a wheelchair user, so making space for wheelchairs to be situated within the congregation. So we have to, I mean, as far as possible, this is a good thing if the churches can make an effort, to make some spaces within the congregation so that wheelchair users have some kind of choice on where they sit, or so that they can sit together with their family members and their friends also when they go to church. What normally happens is, me also in the beginning, now my church, I'm from UBC, so now they have also taken this thing to cut some of the pews. I'll show you some pictures, but earlier they did not have that. So when I go to church, they push me right up to the front, they're sitting like as if I'm the chief guest coming to to the church service, and then, or sometimes in some churches they have this separate thing, and then my family is sitting somewhere there, and I also, if I go to church, I do want to sit near my family and friends, congregate, together happily, like that. No, I don't want to be sitting somewhere in front of everybody, or I'm pushed out there, or sometimes if there's no space, now I'm sitting there in the aisle, blocking everybody, so it's so uncomfortable for me also, so this is something that most people don't even think about, so cutting the pews, the pew cuts, this is some steps that other people in other parts of the world also have taken. Here in some churches they have taken also, in UBC also, thankfully they have done, and so when I go now, there is a space where I can go inside and park my wheelchair. So see, this is not very clear, but there is a wheelchair person sitting inside the pew has been cut, so I think this one is clearer.